My name is Tony Rodriguez. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm a comedic performer slash writer, improviser, yada yada. I came up in like the Upright Citizens Brigade school and theater in New York City, and then I came out here in LA to pursue TV and film. And I was working here and there, and paying bills, and now things are happening a little quicker than they have in the past.
And we're so proud to see you doing the thing. We're proud to see our talent make it big in Hollywood. To start from the where you are now, Tony, can you tell us a little bit about how you made it out to LA? So you were here, you were starting things, and so what was your process of saying, it's Hollywood where I want to get to, and how has that journey been?
Sure. I was performing at the Upright Citizens Brigade in New York, and in LA once a year, CBS produces a diversity comedy showcase, and I was able to audition for that, and I flew out to have like a final audition, and I didn't get it that year, but I realized this is the town I want to be in to work in TV and film. So I came out here, and I did end up doing that CBS diversity showcase that year that I moved out here. And that opened some doors for me. But as I look back, that was 10 years ago. And I feel like in the past few years, these conversations about representation and positive representation, I don't know if that's a phrase. I feel like I just made it up. I'll trademark it. Positive representation has started accelerating. When I did the CBS showcase, I think at the time, I think we traded in like stereotypes and jokes, and it was sort of like, this is my box. Like, I'm gay and I'm Latino and I'm this and I'm that. And now there's like a more nuanced, it's slightly more nuanced, but it's sketch comedy. So
who were some of those other folks or characters, or who were some of the folks or characters that you looked to for that positive Latino representation when you were getting started in Hollywood?
I have to say, I didn't really have any. I do. John Leguizamo, since forever, I feel has been like someone I would look up to, with his like solo shows that I would used to do like monologues from. Like I did a monologue for Spicorama at like a theater festival, and I was like a finalist. I'm like, oh my God. But he was the only one that was doing like comedy that I saw, and being Latino, but also I didn't know anyone that's also gay and Latino. So I think my comedic sensibility, I would gravitate more towards women. I don't know where the Venn diagram falls there, but like Amy Poehler, Amy Sedaris, Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, those are my favorites, my all-time favorites. I love Wanda Sykes. So I swear I get so much more excited about female comedians than male comedians. But I don't really see other. I have friends now, and we're like I admire them, and they're talented, like gay Latinos, in comedy, and I want to work with them more, but I don't see any
people who
have
models.
Made
it before you, but your peers are inspiring you. Who are some of your peers that you're excited to collaborate with or are collaborating with now?
I would say Mike Rose is super funny. He's a comedic performer and writer. He's from the Groundlings. And also, I'm going to say my own team, Spanish Aquí Presents, Riza Licea, Carlos Santos, Oscar Montoya. We've been performing together for so long now. And we all were involved at the Upright Citizens Brigade. And we just sort of like found each other and started performing together. And we're collaborating. And fingers crossed, things start happening there too, because we got some projects in mind. But I feel like it's part of the reason we're talking here is because I recently got on The Simpsons. It I'm just gonna say that I think, which
but that's a big deal, Tony. It's a big deal.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. I still feel like a kid. When I was just down in Miami a few days ago with my nephews, my sister-in-law was like, let's put on The Simpsons. And they're like, oh my God, Theo Tony's a cartoon. And I felt like a little kid with them watching it. I'm still over the moon about it. But in a way, I feel like I have found more, quote, success or more strides in non-Latino spaces as a gay Latino. Yes, I do think it's interesting as well. I don't see many gay male
In
Latinos
Latino content.
in Latino. Correct. I do see, and I'm fully supportive of it, and I think it's amazing. Positive queer Latina roles. Let's say like Vida
And Gentified.
There's like positive,
That
exactly
story,
Gentified.
right?
Yeah, with Carlos Santos, and One Day at a Time has a positive storyline with the daughter character on there, and I think it's super super positive. And then but of course, when we talk about representation in Latino media, and we're seeing it within the Heights, the pushback with there is that we're such a diverse, hugely diverse group of people, and when we're trying to navigate the waters in American mainstream media, it's so easy to like lump us in to one category when it's both thrilling and like dispiriting when you only get like one movie a year or every 5 years, right? And Lin-Manuel has to shoulder all of our hopes and dreams.
Right, because we should be telling more of our stories, and we shouldn't have this scarcity mentality that we just get this one shot, right? That it should be many of us from all of the more than 20 countries we represent telling our stories in front of and behind the camera.
And then to quote Lin-Manuel from Hamilton, when you get that shot, you're like, I'm not throwing away this shot.
Right.
It has to be everything, which...
What else do you think we need to do to get there, Tony? To see queer Latinos represented, to see more of this nuance that you think we've made inches towards progress, but you still say we need more of? What do we need to do to get there?
I think we just need to do it. We just need to make the content. We just need to be more vocal. We just need to do it. We just need to make it happen, right? Because no one's going to do it for us. But also to find people that we work well with together, like collaborate with other Latinx, of all stripes. But I do work with Jenny Lorenzo sometimes. She's so amazing. She to me is like a Latina Carol Burnett. Well, I was saying Carol Burnett earlier. She's such a powerhouse and a producer and a writer and all this. And she like squeaked me into her like cinematic universe as a gay son, and I thank her for that because it's super fun. But yeah, I would add her to my collaboration dream list.
I love that you said that we just have to do the thing and make it happen and collab and reach out, and that through line, Tony, is I think representative of how you got the Simpsons role, because I know that you were kind of pitching yourself for this. Can you tell us more about what prompted you to go for it?
Well, 100%. So, a dear friend of mine, a white gay, there are good people, there are good white people. He hosts a podcast called Gayest Episode Ever, and they talk about the gay episodes of television. And he realized, he was trying to look up the gay jokes of The Simpsons, and he realized there's no supercut of all the gay jokes. So he decided to make one. And it took him a year. And every time he'd come across a Julio, we'd talk about it. I'm like, I could do this voice. It's me. It's like a gay Cupid. He's me. He's me. And it's the same. It's very similar to the voice Hank Azaria used for his character in The Birdcage, which is iconic as heck to me. Anyway, when he was ready to put the supercut out, we decided I would make a video of myself asking The Simpsons to cast me as this gay Cuban character, and I did the voice. The idea being like, oh, I would post mine, and he would post his video, and we would just like post each other, see what happens. And invariably, the showrunner of The Simpsons, Matt Selman, saw it. What I did not know was a dear old friend of mine from New York at Upright Citizens Brigade, whom I used to perform with, had just become a writer. And her first episode had Julio, this character, in it. So when the showrunner went to the writer's room and said, had anyone ever heard of Tony Rodriguez? She's like, oh my God, yes. I got an audition, and then I was recording. So I put out the video on a Monday, and I was recording at Fox the following week.
What a whirlwind, Tony. What a whirlwind.
It was, yeah. So talk about collaboration. Like I have these creative, organic creative relationships with people, and that's kind of how this happened.
That is
Uh,
so freaking cool. More snaps to you for landing this. And for those who don't watch The Simpsons, Tony, can you tell them about Julio, the character?
Yes, he talks like this. He's very like sassy. Well, I don't know if I'm like infringing on copyright by doing the voice. He's an out and proud gay Cuban man in Springfield, and he's sassy and salty, and I love him, and I feel like he's me, and I respect Hank Azaria so much. He's a truly brilliant performer, a brilliant actor. But as these like conversations about representation are opening up these doors, I'm like, oh, let me in. I truly nothing in my life until now. I was like, had I ever felt more, this part is mine. Except for Hank Azaria, truly, nobody can touch him. But like I felt this is mine. No one else can do this better.
That is so inspiring to hear that you're like living out your fullness in this experience. And we're really curious to know, you were talking about this before you hopped on, now having two comparisons relatively close, right? You have The Simpsons, where you said you are so excited to have found the space for this character being Latino, and Gentified, a full Latino show in front of the camera, behind the camera. What are some of the differences in working in both of those spaces?
Ooh, good question. That's a great question. Hensified is so well written and made and acted and produced, and it has. Well, I'll tell you. Here it is. It's underdog versus institution. Like I think Hensified, especially with season 1, was sort of like an underdog show, and there was I think an element of having to prove. You know, Netflix is. I'm putting this in quotes. Like I'm like taking a gamble on, let's say, the POC show, the Latino show. It's definitely for, I imagine, the network executives, a category. But also the show is excellent in its own right. I feel like it transcends, like anyone can. That's the best thing when you're doing, let's say, quote, representative show, but it becomes universal. Like I think One Day at a Time is another example of that. But then versus The Simpsons, which is like a historic show, it's a machine at this point. They have they've been around for so long, and it means so much to so many people that I don't know. It's different. I don't know how to answer that. That's a great question.
You know, maybe if anything, any stories of the working style, or you feeling ownership of the character. I don't know if this is the case, but we were curious to know if finally having that space of Latinos behind and in front of the cameras would start to feel different than some of the roles that you've had in predominantly non-Latino spaces. Any anecdotes you have, and if you don't, that's cool too.
Well, watching Marvin Lemos direct on Gentified, and Linda Yvette Chavez, they're co-creators and writers of Gentified, I could see how much they wanted to put their own experiences and the experiences of the other writers on the screen, and it was such a passion project that I'm hungry for that kind of experience. At the same time, with The Simpsons, that I feel ownership over. Oddly, I feel co-ownership of a character that was already in existence for years, but now I've actually been able to sort of claim part of him in the way that I got it, I guess. Yeah. Like by sort of basically asking for it.
Yeah.
But now I want to take the personal satisfaction of doing a character I absolutely love on The Simpsons, and the experience of seeing everyone working on Gentified, and sort of like, I don't know, create something for myself and other people I'd love to work with.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to do it with all these collabs you have in the work, Tony, and with everything that's going to come. I'm curious to know if there are any other characters that have shaped your career, your style, your essence that you've played, or other characters like you were mentioning your women comedian instos.
Oh my God. I did so many musical comedies here in Los Angeles, and I do drag as well. I have my own drag character, and
So we're gonna see you at
I
Palace
think,
when you come back to Miami.
yeah, absolutely. Her name is Barbara Fella, and I actually kind of wanted to make a show about her. Talking about female comedians, that's how I get to be a female comedian
Love
is
it.
in drag. I've played so many fun roles in musical that I would love to make for film and TV. I got to play Tanya Harding's husband in a musical, a parody of it. Played Batman. I've played. I guess I'm not going to play Freddie Mercury again. I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that anymore. It was a few years back, but he's not Latino. Yeah, I guess I would say drag is the most
Influential.
live. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in terms of other people's performances, I think like everything Carol Burnett did and Lucille Ball on I Love Lucy. I used to watch that all the time as a kid. And like Ricky Ricardo, I was like, oh, he's probably my dad, right?
Yeah, totally. And for so many of us, that was the first representation we saw. I can remember that show being one of my favorites when I was 5 or 6 years old, when I didn't even, the concept of representation and seeing myself or people like me was not even in my consciousness, and I gravitated towards
But
that.
it still mattered,
Yep, it still
right?
mattered.
Like on some level, it mattered that you were seeing, something that resonated with your identity on screen. It's more powerful. I mean, it's more powerful than I think I gave it credit for years ago.
Yeah, if representation matters is not just a cliche. It really does. Speaking of In the Heights, even with all the critique that we on the Pulso team have also done of this work of art, I cried in the theater, not expecting that I was going to, right? And I was going with the lens of a content creator and someone who leads a media startup, and there I was tearing up when Grandma came out. It matters. It matters.
Oh
so
my
much.
God, Paciencia y
Paciencia y
Fe.
Fe.
Yeah, I was crying too. And how thrilling was it to see this like Caribbean music on a big screen on a giant, massive like musical scale? Thrilling. I don't ever seen it before.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Music videos,
Right.
but
Exactly. Are there stories that you want to see told that you're not seeing yet?
yes, I've co-created a pilot that okay. So I love old school TV comedies, like even multicams, and I would love they're rebooting everything.
Yeah.
In a fun way, I feel like in a nostalgic way. I would love to see trips down memory lane where there's a bunch of queer Latinos in it, and it's just nothing. And I'm just making this up right now. I swear to you, The Golden Girls is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that would eat that. I mean, I could see like a dozen reboots of every conceivable. Let's have like lesbians out in Palm Springs. Let's have gays and let's mix them up. Let's have a Latino Golden Girls.
Love it.
Um,
Love it.
I don't know. That's it. More musicals on screen. Let's Latin it up and queer it up. I love Lin-Manuel. I got to work with him once. He's the dream. He's so sweet. He's so much fun to work with. Let's have more Lin-Manuels.
Yes.
He's tired. I'm sure he's a hard worker and he's a brilliant talent. But let's help him out. Let's put some other stuff out there, right?
Let's join them. Absolutely, Tony. Thank you so much for this conversation. You've been so fun. It's been so great to hear your journey.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a treat.